I'm sure a lot of you will feel that your future is predestined and you can't do anything about it. So today I'm going to share with you how in Buddhism, all right, the Buddha has told us that we can actually change our lives. Okay, so first, the content that I'm going to go through today. Okay, for those of you outside, if you can't see the screen, maybe you can move in. All right. First, I'm going to talk about the discourse on the fruits of recluseship. This is from Digha Nikaya, okay, or the long discourse number 2. Then following that, I will talk about the Noble Eightfold Path, okay, specifically only 2 of the paths, not everything. Right effort and right mindfulness. Then next, I'm going to talk about using the Noble Eightfold Path, that means right effort and right mindfulness, to change your destiny. Then finally, what is the Buddhist practice for economic downturns or even economic uncertainties like now, all right? Okay, so let's begin. Okay, first, before I go on, I need to give some background story. If not, if you dive straight into the discourse or the sutta itself, you're going to be very confused, right? Especially for people who have not really listened to much of the suttas before. Okay, so first person I'm going to introduce is Bimbisāra. All right, so he is the first king of Magadha. Okay, Magadha, where is Magadha? Later I'll show you the map. Then the second point about Bimbisāra is he is a very devout Buddhist. All right, so he's a very devout Buddhist. And lastly, his son's name is Ajatasattu. All right, this name is very important. You need to know. Because this whole sutta, this whole discourse is about his son. It's not about Bimbisāra, but it's about his son. Okay, but I also need to bring up the father. Okay, so that's why you see it's very complicated. Next, we'll talk about Ajatasattu. He, due to being besotted with the psychic powers of an errant monk named Devadatta, Ajatasattu killed his father Bimbisāra for the throne. Okay, so what happened was Devadatta, a monk, he wants the Buddha to give him let him be the head of the monks, the whole community of monastics, not only the monks and the nuns. So he put in Ajatasattu. He used psychic powers, all right, to attract him. Then the 2 of them, one wants to kill the king to take over the throne, and then the monk wants to kill the Buddha to take over the whole Sangha, all right, or the community of monastics. Why do you need to do that? We should know one very important point. If the country does not support any particular religion, that religion is going to suffer. Am I right to say that? Right? If any country suppresses any religion, that religion cannot survive. So this is why Devadatta has to find a king to support him. So because Bimbisāra, as mentioned just now, he is a very devout Buddhist towards the Buddha. So it's not possible for Devadatta to ask Bimbisāra to support him, right? So that's why he has to turn to his son, right? So that's why the Devadatta tried to kill the Buddha, and Ajatasattu tried to kill his father, and he was successful. Okay, but Devadatta was not successful, right? Then after he has a son, that means after Ajatasattu has a son himself, he realized how much a father loves his son. So then he realized how much his father, Bimbisāra, loves him. And he was in remorse in trying to kill, in having killed the father, okay, his father. So this is how the story starts, all right? So this is the background. And Magadha, like I said, this is 500 BCE. Magadha, you can see the yellow circle there, all right? Magadha was started by Bimbisāra, King Bimbisāra. Next, 100 years later, Ajatasattu managed to expand, right, the land of Magadha. You can see the yellow circle again, right? It expanded, right? So you can say that Ajatasattu is a successful king in the sense that he expanded his land, all right, his country's land. All right, so this is all the background story. Okay, now we will go into the sutta itself. Okay, so long discourse number 2, the fruits of recluseship. Okay, I cut off a lot of parts because it's very, very long. If you are interested, you can go read it yourself. Okay, I only bring out all the important parts. So at the time, on the full moon night in the 4th month, that means in April, King Ajatasattu of Magadha said, "How tranquil is this moonlit night? is there any recluse or Brahmin that we could visit tonight who might be able to bring peace to my mind? So this sentence already tells you he is suffering mentally, right? To bring peace to my mind. Because he is suffering from what? From the remorse of having killed his father. So he needs someone to help him to calm his mind down. All right, so, before we go into this, he had a few advisors around him, all right? 6 advisors, all right? 5 of the advisors, they recommended the other sects or other religions leaders, okay? But this particular advisor, all this time, Jivaka, Komara, Bacha, sat silently not far from King Ajatasattu. Okay, so he is the 6th one. Okay, then the king said to him, "Friend Jivaka, why do you keep silent?" Right, then he said, "Your Majesty, the exalted one, the worthy one, the perfectly enlightened Buddha, together with a large company of 1,250 bhikkhus, is now dwelling in our mangrove grove." So he's the 6th advisor who recommended the king to go and visit the Buddha. So he said further, "A favorable report concerning him is circulating thus. This exalted one is a worthy one, perfectly enlightened, endowed with clear knowledge and conduct, accomplished, a knower of the world, unsurpassed, trainer of men to be tamed, teacher of gods and men, enlightened and exalted." This whole paragraph here is basically Itipiso. Okay, those of you who know Itipiso Chan, who attended the session just now, 108 Itipiso, this is exact the whole Chan, or rather the first part, okay, 1/3 of the Chan. All right, so, but it's now translated in English. Okay, so those are the qualities of the Buddha. So after listening to him, then Jivaka said, "Your Majesty should visit the exalted one. Perhaps if you visit him, he might bring peace to your mind." Okay, so that to reduce his remorse. Then the king decided to go and look for the Buddha at the mangrove grove. Okay, so he forgo the other five religious leaders. Then after the Buddha gave, okay, I'm going to cut short everything in between because it's very, very long. Okay, because we are only concerned about the last part. So after he went to the Buddha, he actually asked a lot of questions. So the Buddha explained everything to him. So after the Buddha gave a long Dhamma talk to King Ajatasattu, okay, so when the exalted one has finished speaking, King Ajatasattu said to him, "Excellent, venerable sir, just as if one were to bring a lamp into a dark place so that those with keen sight could see forms." That means a place that's dark, so if someone brings light into that place, then everyone who has good eyesight, or rather who has normal eyesight, you'll be able to see things, all right? Then in the same way, venerable sir, the exalted one has revealed the Dhamma in numerous ways. I go for refuge to the exalted one, to the Dhamma, and to the Bhikkhu Sangha. Let the exalted one accept me as a lay follower, gone for refuge from this day onwards as long as I live. So this is the formula in the past, all right, to be a Buddhist. All right, nowadays, we ask you all to recite the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Okay, but in the past, so long as you say this sentence in front of the Buddha, then you will be a Buddhist. But remember this, they said, from this day onwards, as long as I live. That means what? The rest of the life you must be Buddhist. You cannot change religion anymore. Okay? So, if you come to us, you suddenly decide to go Christianity, we cannot do anything. But this one is as good as a vow already. All right? So that was in the past. Then what happened? So what did the king say further to the Buddha? He said, he confessed to the Buddha saying, "Venerable sir, a transgression overcame me. I was so foolish, so deluded, so unskillful that for the sake of rulership, I took the life of my own father, a righteous man and a righteous king." All right, so he himself knows that his father, is a righteous man and a righteous king. All right, then he said, "Let the exalted one acknowledge my transgression as a transgression for the sake of my restraint in the future." Okay, in the future means probably the next life, because his current life, no more father already. Cannot try to kill another father, not possible. All right, so probably in his next life, hopefully, because he asked the Buddha, all right, for redemption. All right, so the Buddha gave it to him, and he said, "Indeed, great king, a transgression overcame you. You were so foolish, so deluded, so unskillful that for the sake of rulership, you took the life of your father, a righteous man, a righteous king. But since you have seen your transgression as a transgression and make amendments for it according to the Dhamma, we acknowledge it." So the king Ajatasattu he confessed towards the Buddha and of course the Sangha. That's why the Buddha said we, okay, not I. All right, then the Buddha continued to say, "For great king, this is the growth in the discipline of the noble one, that a person sees his transgression as a transgression, make amendments for it according to the Dhamma, and achieves restraint in the future." Okay, so this is what the Buddha said. And a lot of people may think that, Buddhism, I must be perfect, I must observe this, observe that, so difficult. Actually, it's not true. All right, what Buddhism expects of you is, so long as you make a mistake, you acknowledge your mistake and you change for the better. This is what is required of every Buddhist. All right, it's not that I recite the 5 precepts, I must keep it 100% pure. No, it's not. Sometimes you may break it, for whatever reason. But once you know that you break it, maybe you can think of ways, how can I change such that, I don't break this precept in the future in this circumstance. All right, maybe there are other circumstances that, you unknowingly broke it. Then you go and improve again. This is what it means to be a Buddhist. All right, so in Chinese, there's an idiom. Okay, I'm not sure whether you all can guess the idiom by now. All right, those who are familiar with Chinese. 谁能无过，知错能改，善莫大焉. All right, I'm sure maybe you all did not think about it, but now that I've said it, you all find it very familiar. Right? So in English, it means who is free from faults. There is nothing better than knowing your mistakes and correcting them. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Okay, but the more valuable thing is you know your mistakes, acknowledge it, and then you change it. That's more important. Okay. So now we go on to talk about the Noble Eightfold Path, right effort. Okay, so now we have spoken about, we know from the past that even a king, he acknowledges his own mistakes, all right, and his mistake is very, very big, killing his own father. All right, for us, we make a lot of small mistakes, but the moral of the story is we need to acknowledge our mistakes and try to change for the better. All right, so now how to change? Okay, what did the Buddha teach, to change ourselves? So in this discourse, long discourse 22 or Digha Nikaya 22, the long discourse on mindfulness or Mahasatipatthana Sutta, okay, and the Buddha said, what is right effort? He says, it is when one generates enthusiasm, tries, makes an effort, exerts the mind and strives so that bad, unskillful qualities don't arise. And the second one is unskillful qualities that have arisen are given up. So this second one is exactly what I said just now. If you have made a mistake, you need to acknowledge your own mistake and then you try to correct your mistake. Okay, so this is what it means by unskillful qualities that have arisen are given up. And the Buddha mentioned the first sentence here. One generates enthusiasm, tries, makes an effort, exerts the mind and strives. Okay, it's not like you make a mistake and then you try half-heartedly, cannot, I tried already, I cannot. It's not like that. You really, really need to make the effort. So this is what it means by right effort, only half of it. The second half is, what is right effort? It is when, the same thing, one generates enthusiasm, tries, makes an effort, exerts the mind and strives so that skillful qualities arise. And skillful qualities that have arisen remain, are not lost, but increase, mature, and are completed by development. That means, for example, the 5 precepts, you manage to keep 4 of them. So these 4, okay, you need to try your best to maintain the 4 precepts without breaking them so that you continue the skillful qualities. And then the last one, maybe you broke it. Like I said, if previously you have already broken it and then you need to make amendments on how to correct them and make yourself better. Okay, next. Oh, sorry. This one is not supposed to come out. Okay, but never okay, never mind, we'll just continue. Okay, so how do you change a good destiny into a bad one? All right, from the right effort and right mindfulness. All right, so I add in right mindfulness now. Okay, so this is starting point. For example, your starting point is the blue dot there. All right, then you go to see the fortune teller. The fortune teller tell you, if you do this, you sure have good result, good destiny. All right, then what you do is you become very proud. Oh, I sure successful. I sure can get this. I sure can get that, because I see 5 fortune tellers. 5 fortune tellers also tell me the same thing. Okay, then what happens is you become less mindful. I'm not sure you all can see, less bodily mindfulness. Okay, that means you are less aware of your own actions and more unwholesome thoughts because of your pride, because you think that you will be successful 100%. So that's why all the unwholesome thoughts start coming up. What if I'm successful? What can I do with this, this success, this money, or whatever, this position? All the unwholesome thoughts start coming in, and you are less aware of your own actions. What will happen is you will have a 1 degree negative change. Do you agree? Right? Do you agree with this? If you are too overly proud of yourself, this is what will happen. Okay, so I'm just talking about very minor change, a minus 1 degree change. And you can already see it is actually quite far from your good destiny. If the point spreads further, the distance will be even bigger. Right? So that means what? If the near future, okay, the bad things that happen to you will not be so bad. But if you don't change and you continue with not being aware of your actions and you continue being proud of yourself, you go further and further, your line of destiny will get worse and worse, and you'll be even much further away from your original good destiny. Okay? Understand what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to represent with this? Next, if you have even less bodily mindfulness, that means you are totally not aware of your own actions, and even more unwholesome thoughts. Okay? Then the change will be even bigger, even greater. Minus 5 degrees. Then you'll be even further away from your original destiny. Okay? So that's why I said misfortune does not come singly. Okay? In Chinese, 祸不单行 is not true. Why is this so? Because every time something bad happens to you, okay? Something bad happens to you. It does not mean that just because bad thing happened to you, all the bad things start coming in because that one bad thing attract all the other bad things. No, it doesn't work this way. Why you have multiple bad things happening to you at the same time or one after another is because when one bad thing happens to you, your mind is very restless and you may be suffering from anxiety, or even worse, you may be suffering from depression. Then you cannot think properly, you cannot do your work properly, everything you do, there are mistakes. And you are like, always thinking about that matter, and you cannot focus on your work, cannot focus on your family. And what will happen? You will make more and more mistakes, right? When you make more and more mistakes at work, what's going to happen to you? If one of the mistakes is big enough, then goodbye to you. You'll be sacked from the job. And then you come back and then you say, all the bad things happen to me at the same time. But is it true? It's not true, because you did not try to control your mind, you did not control your actions. You just let things happen because your mind is distracted by whatever thing, outside thing. And then you could not manage your own job properly. You make too much mistakes, and a very major mistake that caused you to lose your job. So this is the main reason, all right? So that is why I said misfortune does not come singly. This is not true, okay? Then now we go into, how about changing the bad destiny into a good one? Same thing, starting point, all right? So maybe the fortune teller tell you, wow, this year you jialat, you will have a lot of bad things happening to you, okay? Maybe, you will have to go to court or even go to jail. Wow, you hear already, wow, why like that? All right, then let's say you have more, once you know about this, you are more aware of your own actions and you have more wholesome thoughts. You keep thinking, how can I stop this destiny from happening to me? All right, so let me give you one very good example. You are a very bad-tempered person. Okay, I say very, not normal, so very, very bad-tempered. People talk to you a little bit, and then when you perceive that, that person is talking bad about you, wow, your anger come up all the 100%, and you scold vulgar language, everything, and you want to beat the person up. So maybe you're that type of person. So that is why the fortune teller say, this year, you have a big chance that you will go to jail or have court issues. Okay, why? Because maybe you have interaction with someone, and then, you get angry and you go beat the person up. Then the moment you hit, the person go hospital, you go jail. Okay? So how do you change this? Once you know, you apply right effort. Right effort meaning you do not follow up with, you know that you have anger issues. Then you learn to restrain yourself. That means the unskillful things, you restrain yourself, and you apply mindfulness. That means you are aware of your own actions, what you can do, what you cannot do. So you just need one very, very minor change. When someone aggravates you, instead of hitting the person, you just scold. You restrain. Your hand is shaking. You want to beat that person up so badly, but then you know that you have to stop yourself. So you restrain. Does that change your destiny? It does, right? Just one very, very minor change, you will have prevented yourself from having court case or even going to jail. Just one very minor change. This is why even a 1 degree change here, it is very, very different from the bad destiny. And the same as the previous case. The more you sustain this right effort and right mindfulness, the longer it is, then the bigger your change in destiny will be. All right, so the same for if you have even more mindfulness and even more wholesome thoughts, then you will have even more change, even better change. All right, so you can see that your destiny will get even better and better. All right. Okay, so now how do you use right effort and mindfulness at work? So now we are talking about during economic downturns, or even now, like now we are facing economic uncertainties. I wouldn't say downturn now, but it's uncertainty because a lot of things happening in the world. War here, war there, right? Like India, Pakistan, almost going to war, and then all the tariffs, everything all coming up. Okay, so how do you use right effort and right mindfulness during work? So what you can do is to apply right mindfulness, be aware of the areas of work that you make the most mistakes and your weakest areas during work appraisals. For example, if you do not know yourself, you say, I really don't know where I'm weak at work. Then approach your boss or your manager or whoever. I'm sure they will give you work appraisals and they will tell you, this area maybe you should improve, and do something about it. Then you go and work on it. Since now job security is an issue, it's uncertain. You do not know whether you'll lose your job. So it's better for you to play safe. Play safe meaning what? You try to reduce your mistakes, to reduce your chances of getting sacked from the department or even the company, right? If you continue your old way, don't care lah, I'm like that what? Right? I'm like that what? Be myself, I'm like that what? Then sorry to say, but good luck to you. The moment the company restructure, you'll be the first one to go because you never make an effort, okay? So that is why the first one is right mindfulness. Mindfulness meaning you have to be very aware, all right, of your own mistakes, and you try to change it. Like what I mentioned during the first sutta, the Digha Nikaya number 2, where the king changed for the better. So this is also the same. You have to know your mistakes and change for the better. Then right effort, try your best to reduce your mistakes. So right mindfulness is knowing. You just know. Right effort is the doing. You have to actually do it, right? Try your best to reduce the mistakes and improve on your strengths. Improve your relationships with superiors, colleagues, friends, and contacts, right? So the second one, number B, is basically to help you to improve, people's opinion of you. And contacts and friends, why you need even better relationship? Because in case you really lose your job, you got someone else, other contacts to help you find another job. And then C is be more proactive. Proactive meaning, don't just die. My job scope is only like that, so okay, I only do like that. Try to expand a little bit, okay? I'm not saying overwork yourself until you work until you're like going to die already, no. Okay, but be more proactive, see how you can value add to your team, your department, or whatever your work, okay? Then lastly, you need to meditate. Everything I said, being aware of your own actions. If you don't meditate, you will never be aware. Why? Because your brain is thinking about past, thinking about future. It's never at the present moment. You will never know what you're doing at the present moment. And when you don't know what you're doing at the present moment, you can say the wrong thing, you can do the wrong thing, and that will cost you your job. So that is why meditation is very important. Okay? Next, let's say at home. Now we're talking about home. Using right mindfulness and right effort at home. Right mindfulness, be aware of your expenses. Maybe some of you every day must go and drink the, I don't know, now got what, the $10, $12 pao pao cha, bubble tea. You know, I watch on YouTube, some people every single day must bring one cup, and it's not like $4, $5, or it's also like, wow, $10, $12 one. No, I don't know what you put inside, but so expensive. Maybe some people every weekend must go and eat restaurant. Hai Di Lao every weekend. Okay? I don't know other people, they eat what, but Hai Di Lao is very expensive. Okay? From what I've heard. All right? So be aware of your expenses. Since now you know that there's economic uncertainty, then you really need to shrink a bit. Maybe instead of every week go to an expensive restaurant, you go once a month. Okay? Then that is being mindful. Next, the right effort is to do it, reduce your expenses, then communicate with family members on expectations. Because sometimes some of your family members may not understand. All right? Kids or even your parents. For example, every month you give your parents $1,000 as pocket money. Okay, then suddenly you just reduce to 800, 600, 500, I don't know how much you will reduce. Well, then your parents come to you, hey, why the money become so little now? So don't scare them, all right? At least tell them in advance, I'm facing some issues, there is job uncertainty now. Maybe, I reduce a little bit, okay, but don't be too much, don't give. Okay, so all these things, even if you have kids, then same thing. Kids, they spend without thinking. So you need to let them know. Okay, so the third one is to pick up a healthy hobby that lets you create things. Okay, I specifically put in to create things and healthy. What is unhealthy hobby? All don't have. Wow, all so pure, so virtuous. Unhealthy hobby is what? One thing I can think of is what? Watch K-drama. Or maybe now C-drama. Wow, watch, come back only. Watch the whole night, 12 a.m., then sleep. Next morning, you 6 a.m., you must wake up. Then after that, on MRT also watch, home also watch, wherever also watch. Okay, or maybe not K-drama, C-drama, maybe Netflix or whatever, I don't know. Okay, so that is not a healthy hobby. That is not. That is basically just sensual desire. Okay, you are just consuming. That is why I said pick up a hobby that lets you to create things. If you like watching dramas or even Netflix or whatever it is, what you can do is create some social media. Maybe you can put a review of what you have watched. That is creation. And that is good. Why? Because you are using your mind to do something rather than just consume. You are having some output when you put something on social media, whatever it is, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever you like. Okay, that is already creating things. But maybe you can also learn to cook instead of always going to a restaurant to eat. If you really, really like a particular restaurant, maybe you can see how to find a certain recipe that's very close to what the restaurant has. Then you cook at home and you try it at home. Then you will save costs as well as you develop a good hobby that has production, that has creation. Okay? And lastly, again, I put it there, meditate. If you don't meditate, all these things that I say will be useless because you won't be able to do it. 100% guaranteed. All right? Okay, then lastly, the mindset during economic downturns or economic uncertainties. First, we need to have acceptance. A lot of times when bad things happen to us, we are unable to take it because we do not want to accept the fact that we are facing the current situation. We cannot accept the fact, for whatever reason. So this is why acceptance is very, very important. You need to accept before you can let go. You don't accept, you will never be able to let go. All right, so we need to accept the fact that we are unable to change the economic situation. All right, the only one who can do that is who? Who can change the economic situation of the world? Who is it? God. No, sorry, God also don't interfere. Donald Trump. If he suddenly one day wake up, he say, okay, no more tariff, then good for us. But if he doesn't, then good luck to us. All right? Then next, be prepared. Be prepared that everything is impermanent in this world or universe. Nothing is permanent in this world. Everything changes. Even if you have a super stable job today, it does not mean that you will be able to stay in the job forever. All right? Until the day you retire. It may not be true. All right? So this is what the Buddha taught is impermanence. So that's why we need to be prepared. Next, positive mindset. There will always be new opportunities or discoveries during times of hardships. A lot of times people cannot accept the fact that they are facing hardship is because they think that they are doomed. There's nothing they can do to save themselves. But that is not true, because it is during hardships that you can really see how you can really push through the hardship and better yourself. So this is the time when you will discover new opportunities, maybe from the hardship itself, and then maybe from your hobby itself. Your hobby, you do something about it, then maybe from there you find other contexts and you find some opportunities in the hobby such that you can make a living from there. Who knows? You never know, right? And then it may open up more doors. You meet more people, you have more contacts, and then from there you will find other opportunities, right? So that is why always have a positive mindset, right? New opportunities and new discoveries can happen during hardships. And lastly, again, meditate. All right? Because science, it's not I say, science has proven, and it's also not the Buddha say, only the Buddha say. All right? Now science has proven that meditation can help to reduce anxiety and depression as it stops rumination. Okay? In Buddhist terms, it is restlessness. Rumination means a person, when something happens to the person keeps thinking about the issue, thinking, and they cannot, and they get deeper and deeper into it. They cannot get out of it. So in Buddhist terms, we call it restlessness because we keep thinking about it. The mind does not stay at the present moment, what you are supposed to do now. But rather, you think about the past, that thing that has happened to you in the past. And you keep thinking, and you spiral into a very, very deep abyss. Once you go down the abyss, it's very difficult for you to climb back up. So this is why in psychology, they have a lot of interventions nowadays called mindfulness-based interventions. That means they use mindfulness to help you get out of this deep abyss that you have fallen into. And it has been proven very, very successful. So if science can prove that meditation is successful, so why we ourselves as Buddhists, we don't do it? Right? A lot of people, they just come here, pray, and then they go back. But praying does nothing. Right? You need to have some action, and that is meditation. Okay? So this one is again back to what I said just now. If you meditate and you are able to control your actions, your body actions, and you control your mind to have more wholesome thoughts, then you will change your destiny. You will change from a bad destiny to a good one, or even a good one to an even better one. So this is how you change your destiny, even in economic uncertainties, during economic uncertainties. Okay? So this is the end of my talk. And finally, I want to give you all some well wishes. All right? Hopefully, you all can have a better future from today onwards. So may all who have listened to the Dhamma on this Vesak day be blessed with wealth, prosperity, and peace. May your homes be harmonious and never lack of jobs that are fruitful and meaningful. May you progress well on the Noble Path while living skillfully in the world. And lastly, may the merits of this Dhamma listening lead to happiness here and ultimate liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.